I'll certainly get back to you about the details. Our next panelist, Dr. Ijaz Khan. Dr. Khan is a visiting faculty at the School of Politics and International Relations at Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, Pakistan. He's the author of numerous publications. His latest contribution is a book titled Pakistan's Strategic Culture and Foreign Policy Making, a study of Pakistan's post-9/11 Afghan policy change. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and providing this opportunity to share my views and learn as well from other speakers. In this brief time, I'll be sharing my views on Pakistan's role in the Afghan peace process. Now, in the current phase, which I consider to be the third phase of the whole process, the first being the US-Taliban negotiation and the deal, and the second being the process between the deal and the commencement of the intra-Afghan dialogue earlier this month in Doha. Now, to understand Pakistan's role, we have to understand what's Pakistan's Afghan policy, what are its interests, and Pakistan's relations with Taliban. Now, if we look at just a few days back, 2 or 3 days back, Mr. Imran Khan, Prime Minister of Pakistan, wrote an op-ed in Washington Post. And if one deciphers that, Pakistan's role and policy becomes clearer in the whole process. Pakistan's Afghan policy and its objectives there are determined mainly by two factors. Of course, there are other factors, but mainly by two factors in the context of its relations with USA, China, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Now, the two factors, one is threat perception from India, and the second is the issue of Durand Line. Durand Line is the line that divides Pakistan and Afghanistan, and which has traditionally, continuously been refused, has not been accepted by Afghanistan. Even Taliban government there did not recognize it. Now, these two are almost taken together because with India's presence in Afghanistan, Pakistan considers the significance of the Durand Line issue increases. That also Durand Line issue brings in picture Pashtun politics because Pashtuns are on both sides of the Durand Line. And that India and Pashtun national politics brings in Pakistan's attitude towards the religious forces and religious extremists. Because it's as its preferred partner in Afghanistan. Because it considers that religious, especially extremist religious forces will find it difficult, if not totally impossible, to be closer, to align themselves with a Hindu India against a Muslim Pakistan. So it considers that to be their better bet. The second issue is Pakistan's role to understand is how much influence do you have, what is their relationship. Now, unlike presented by many, both Pakistan's who are critical of Pakistan's role or even supporters, they exaggerate the influence of Pakistan over Taliban. Pakistan, definitely Taliban and Afghanistan have a clear-cut connection. This has been even acknowledged by Imran Khan in his recent op-ed, because Pakistan was able to bring them to the negotiating table with America's thanked and all this, so they acknowledged. However, this is wrong to say that Pakistan, they are somehow agents of Pakistan or working for Pakistan in the sense that Pakistan orders and they say, yes, sir. That is not the case. They negotiate. They definitely take into account Pakistan's opinion, Pakistan's views seriously, with respect, consider them, accepts them totally, partially, and there are instances where they may not agree. However, Pakistan can definitely influence. Pakistan's role in the whole process, as well as in the current process, is to use its influence, whatever, First was to bring them to the negotiating table. They came. Then to pressure, to force them or to convince them for a compromise. As much as the United States role there is to convince, to use its influence on the Afghan government, other side, for a negotiated settlement. However, when Pakistan plays that role, Pakistan, like Americans, others, is and would be looking out for its interests and its policies in the final deal as well, as is clear in Mr. Khan's op-ed as well. But when he refers to the regional external spoilers, regional spoilers, he, without naming, is referring to India mainly. Because it considered Indian presence and Pakistan's considered has been awfully repeated. It's not new that whatever the deal, Indian presence must be minimum, with zero military to military relations between India and Afghanistan. Plus, it would expect the new dispensation, whatever comes, to recognize Durand line. And even if they find it difficult to recognize, at least not give it much significance in their policy, in their relations. Now, all this role is playing in its attempts to play a balance between its relations with the United States as well as China. And it addresses the, so when I say the relationship with Taliban is good, but it's not absolute. Pakistan would want a negotiation, not a total government, absolute government of Taliban, but a Taliban dominant government. Because it considers Taliban dominant government will not be giving a religious, for a religious person, ethnic-based identity is of less importance. So the land issue will be of less significance. And also, this will mean continued dependence of Taliban, need of Taliban to listen to Pakistan. So it would want. And then this would also mean a total, there's a total absolute return of Taliban. That would mean religious extremism and its impact on Pakistan also is religious extremism. And not just the Americans and the Chinese all would not want that. Xinjiang was mentioned earlier by Dr. Jen. And definitely that is an important thing. Pakistan would be looking at that as well. So a mix is what Pakistan is looking towards in Afghanistan. And that what Pakistan is facilitating. Pakistan has been doing that, bringing them. Now currently Dr. Abdullah being in Islamabad on the first leg of his regional tour. He's going to India as well as China next. And they are trying to reach out Pakistan to give the impression, the perception that it is not against this or against them. And once, in addition to that, the new thing is, which Imran again referred to in his article, the regional connectivity. And that, without mentioning CPEC, but that is also part of it. But in that, it wants to bring in United States as well. So Pakistan would want to use this opportunity to become much better appreciated in the US considerations of its policy towards the region. And with that being, because if it is better considered, it will not be, also again, India is at the back of Pakistan's mind. It will not be totally given up in favor of India, because the India-US relations are increasingly improving, and especially with the India-China context happening. So I think Pakistan is trying to facilitate a broad-based government, dominated definitely with a stronger role for Taliban, and such a peaceful outcome will be in the interest of Pakistan, and that let's see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khan. I'll get back to you about the details of the relationships. All right, getting back to Ambassador Samad, you highlighted in your talks about the procedural arrangement which is happening right now in Doha, and that seems to be a major discussion between the two parties, the Republic and the Taliban. It seems it's going beyond that. I mean, you highlighted that there are two issues coming up out of this procedural issues or procedural